Well, hi everybody, it's Bella. I'm back, and as promised, I'm going to do a snippet roll today. So this is what I've got ready and prepared. I've got all my little bits of scraps around me, and it's just a pity. I'll just bring them in as I need them, and then you can see what I'm using. So I thought I'm going to start off by showing you what I'm going to use. It's going to either be this one, and I measured it, and they're 3 inches, from there to there, they're 3 inches, okay? That one's roughly 2 3/4, I think. The piece of material that I've already cut from this material that I bought from my haberdashery, locally, is 2.5 inches. So that really is roughly 2.5, as you can see. I think I'll put it on this one when I've done it, because I need to go, you know, on the edge, or when I'm putting the material on, I'd like to just overlap it just a little bit. That's the only thing with this, it keeps doing that. So let me just get that off a second. All right, and I've got a really long piece on there. I'm not going to unravel it all now, because I'm going to keep it on there as I'm working on it, just to stop it flapping about. Okay, so that's what I'm going to use. This is one I made a while ago, quite a while ago, in my old house before we moved here, and I thought I'd show you. And it's on this lovely little, oh, I don't know what that is. Where's that come from? The middle. Anyway, there we go. And it's called a decorative ribbon. So I've obviously had some ribbon on there at some point. And when I made it, I thought, oh, that will just fit on there nicely. All right, so I'll hold it up and show you. That was a little bit of the slow stitching that I was learning in the very beginning. And I love that because it's really messy. And it's just bits of lace that I've added on to the material and made like clusters. So that's that one. Okay, so that really is, somebody reminded me that I've got an inch mat here. How silly am I? Thank you, whoever reminded me. This is a 17-inch mat here, so that's 17, and that's 13, so that's about 30, isn't it? 30 inches, I think. Yeah, about 30 inches. I won't put it back on the reel at the moment. And this is another one that I did, and I can't remember actually. One's bigger than the other, I think. Yes, this is one I just made. It was for Rachel, but she's just left it here for some reason. So that was just one I was playing with, which you could actually use and just use them as sort of clusters if you wanted to. But I think what I'd planned to do there, I was going to add more on. So, or she was going to add more on, but that went on there like so. I think it was the other end actually. So that's what I've done there. And I have got some yo-yos left, but I haven't got them out because that sort of thing you want to put on at the end. All right, so that goes on there like so. So that's what I'm planning to do. So I'm going to work from left to right because that's the way my hands work. And I'm going to start building up. I'll put that there for some inspiration, I think. Excuse me. I'm sorry I dashed off yesterday, but I was just about to have a coughing fit. And I thought, oh gosh, I better go because I could feel some of the material I was pulling out had got caught in the back of my throat because I have got asthma. So it did tickle my throat a bit. So I thought, right, I better go. So that's what I did. But I've got a glass of water here ready in case I get a tickle again. So let's start off with some material. I've got strips of material here cut out ready that was in my little bag, which is now empty. And I'm going to try and use up a lot of these little snippet bits, which I've got here. So let's spread them about. What should we start with? I think I'll start with that piece there. And just put anything that you fancy down onto your piece of material. Now, if it's got, no, that's a flower, so I would like it to go up that way. That's a flower, actually, looking at that. And I've put everything on upside down, as you can see. I could have left it, but I would rather see what I'm doing. I could even put that down there like that, if I wanted. And that one, you need a bit bigger. And don't be afraid to cut them. There's my scissors. because let me check that I am recording, yes. And tear them if you can, because then you'll have these lovely raw edges, okay? So I hope you're all well and doing lots of crafting and so forth. This is the hardest bit, I suppose, is trying to find the next piece. But that's a beautiful piece. Look at that. Isn't that lush? So I'm going to put that over there like that. And then you'll come in with your lace next. And it's not going to be a coloured design or anything like that. It's just going to be odd bits, you know. So don't worry too much about whether the colours match. It's just something that's fun to do. That's what I'm trying to say. You can colour match it if you want to, of course, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to put them on and use up my scraps. I've lost my bin. Hang on, I'll pull my bin out. These are little bits of quilting. That might go on there. I think I'll stick that on there. What else have we got? That would be nice there. And you see how quickly it builds up. Now I've got this lovely little bit here that's really, really tatty. If I can get it flat. It's going to go on there, look. Isn't that fun? Now you can either glue these down or you can start pinning. And I think I'm going to start pinning so that we can and just keep layering them, because it doesn't matter how thick they become. All right, so I'm just going to do that because they'll all fall off as I'm going to try and move them along. So, and I'm going to slow stitch this. Now you can machine them. You can do it on your sewing machine. And lots of people do that, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you wanted to practice your slow stitching and do different stitches, you can do it like this. Okay, so, and of course your lace will go with the top, and then that will pin everything down more or less when you put your lace on. So I'm just showing you now as I'm building this up what I would do. And as I say, it doesn't matter whether things match up, because once the lace goes over the top, you're not going to see more or less what's underneath anyway, are you? So don't worry too much about things matching. Let me just pin that little bit down there. And then what I think I'll do tomorrow, I'll come back and we'll do some slow stitching on it once I've tacked it all down. Because I've got my needle ready here somewhere, throwing all my bits on top of it, and I've threaded my needle with some very thin cotton just to invisibly stitch it on, so that it does, so you can get rid of the pins. That's what I was going to say. And you can take all the pins off then, and then you can start to put your lace on and then really start to build up. So I might show you a little bit of that before I go too far. What about, let's have a look, what else have we got? That's a nice bit of texture, look at that. But that's too big, so we're going to, I'll cut that one. Now they may look a bit funny at the moment, but once you start putting on your other bits, see, like that. Now there's a pin there, so let's move that out of the way. Watch I don't stab myself. And try to overlap them, because it's just like when you're collaging. Think of it as a collage. Try not to get all the corners matching. Have things, you know, at odd angles and things like that. I wanted to use a little bit of this. I think that would be nice there. I might even put the whole lot on there. So you can put big pieces or small pieces, whatever you fancy. It's entirely up to you. That's a nice piece. It's got leaves or something on it. I might put that down there. I think I'm going off screen a bit, so let me unravel my... Anything that's got texture on would be good. See, I've overlapped that there. Look, it's not meeting. And I think it looks much better. And then that piece then can go here. I know it's an oddment, but you won't see it. You won't see all the different bits. And the more texture you have, the better. So let's start stitching down. I think I'll start from this side, and then you'll see better. So let's go in from the back. Let's get rid of my rubbish. Hang on a sec. And you go back in. Let's unravel that a bit more. That's a good idea, actually. I'm glad I put that on the reel, because it's just staying put, because the weight of the reel is keeping it down nicely. So if you go back in very near the spot that you came out, and they're tiny, tiny little invisible stitches. I mean, you can't see them, obviously, but once you start layering, see? It's going to hold it in place. Oh, done that the wrong way. My mind went off at a tangent then. Sorry, I'm going to have to rethread it. Getting excited. I love making these. The nicest part for me is when all the lace goes on and the yo-yos and the buttons. I haven't made one this long, but sorry, I'm in trouble here. There we go. And then it'll build up layers and you'll have different thicknesses. No, I've got to go down, haven't I? There we go. Just keep it all in place, and then you can start taking out your, no, I'm doing it again. Taking out your pins then, because that one can come out now. See? And it'll just keep everything flat for you. I don't know whether you can see the cotton or not, but that's what I'm doing. I'm just going back in where, more or less where I came out. And back again. And they don't need to be very close together, because all you're doing is tacking it down, but with very tiny, tiny little stitches. And Rachel from Roxy Creations showed us how to do this. She makes wonderful creations, as you know, and she got me into this. She doesn't know she got me into it, but she did get me into it. I just love what she makes. Right, I'm just going to see if I can get that as flat as I can there. And really, why I make these is because I keep them in my craft room and they're up on my shelf, and I just love looking at them. So there you go. So you can see how quickly you can get these tacked down and then start building them up. I mean, you could machine them, but this is more fun. And you could almost sit and do this in front of the television once you've got them pinned on. It takes no time at all. And I quite enjoy this bit. This is the most relaxing bit. Tack that bit down there. So, find all your little bits, and I hope you'll make some with me, and we'll see how they turn out. So what I think I'll do now, I think I'll pause the camera, finish doing this little bit, because you don't need to see me doing any more, and I'll come back then and we can layer up this little bit once I've stitched it down, and taking all the pins out, and then I can show you then what I'm thinking of putting on the top. Okay, I hope that sounds okay. So I'll see you in a bit. I'll be back soon. Hi, I'm back. I've stitched it all down to that little bit there. It's about 17 inches that I've done there, and I've just started to put some lace. I've got some RachandBellaCrafts lace here. Never tell which is the right way up, but I think that's okay. That there. And as I say, now you're not gonna see a lot of what I put some down here as well. Some of this beautiful lace that I've got that I can never work out which is the right way up. And I've got lots of little bits down here. Any scraps will do. And just start layering them. And wherever you feel the need to add. Just check they're the right way up. And you can keep layering and layering and layering. You could go across like that. Let's put that one by here and then go across like that. And then just add tiny little bits if you want. And I've stitched it on. I meant to say too, when I was doing the stitching, that if you didn't want to do the invisible stitching, then you could just do long tacking stitches, and that would be quicker for you, because that took me a little while to do this. Okay, and then you can put your lace on, keep going with the lace, and little bits like this you can cut off and put different textures on. Don't make it all the same texture. And then once it's down, you can just start playing with it. Then you can move it around or do whatever you want with it. I'm putting rather a lot of lace on here because I'm trying to remember what I did. You can just put some plain ones on. What I did with this one, actually, I didn't put lots of little ones. I was putting bigger squares on. There, look. And that might probably be better for slow stitching. If you want to do a lot of slow stitching, I suggest you use big pieces like this. Thinking about it now, because I haven't done one of these for such a long time. But I want the underneath to show a little bit, so I'm going to put it on like that. And I've got these beautiful pieces here. There's some beads on there. I don't know whether you can see. So I'm going to put that down there. I'm going to rethink this now because I was just thinking about the slow stitching. So, because you can use your threads to build up, as I did here, look. You can do different stitches. I've done different stitches on there, and I've done some across here. I'd forgotten I'd done all this actually. Let's see what I did on the other one, and on that one as well, look. Okay, I've done cross stitch there, and you can either just keep adding material like I've done on this one, and that would be nice. So let's just pin this down a second. See how we're doing. I quite like that bit there. This bit here I'm quite happy with, because you can still stitch over the top if you want to. All right, and I've also got lots of different bits of material. If we wanted to break up some of the, we could do that, look. And break up some of the patterns, that's what I'm trying to say. My brain's thinking now. All right, so it just depends on the look that you want, and little textures like that over the top I think is gorgeous. And you can still put stitches, and if you use thicker thread, you know, your embroidery threads, you can build up the pattern over the top of that as well. French knots, you can do all manner of things, all different stitches. And if you go on to Rachel with Roxy Creations, you will see See, now that would be nice on top of there, and a little bit of lace either down there like that. Now, isn't that pretty? See, that's all you need, just to add little bits. And I've got some of this here, you know, things like this, or even things, odd bits. Let me just pin this one on. I'm trying not to cover that up because I do love that. Let me see, what else have I got? Excuse me, stretching. Got all my bits down here now. This is rather nice. Yeah, now that shows through, look. And I love that bit there, so I'm going to pin that on. That's fun. And then you could embroider it. You could do all sorts of seed stitching there if you wanted to. That's what Rachel suggests. And all kinds of things. So, and of course, if you're an embroiderer, you'll know about all this anyway. So I don't need to teach you, do I? But, you know, we do get new people trying to learn these things, which I think is lovely. That's how I started. And I've got some gauze. That would be nice texture too. See? Let's have a little bit of this and see where we can pop this in. And I might make a little bit of a ruffle with this. Use your material and think how you could use them in different ways. So we could ruffle it up a little bit like this. So we've got a bit more texture going on there. That's all sticking to my fingers. See, you could do that and then stitch over the top. Maybe here. That would be rather nice. I think I'm going to put that on there. And just play with it. And I'm going to finish pinning all this down, because I'm only going to do the 17 inches first of all, and then once a week then I'm going to come back and do a bit more on it, I think, and show you what I'm doing. I think that would be good. Let's see, what can we put? This is quite bare here, isn't it? That's a nice piece there. I'm going to cut those tassels off there. I might even... but that's too near to there, so no, as you were. Let's put that. Yeah. Just keep building up your textures, because when you put it on your cotton reel, these things, you'll feel them as you're putting them on, and they feel absolutely wonderful. So even these little bits here, look, can be used. And where can we find a little spot for those? Where they'll show up, but not there. Maybe there. All right, so just anything, any little bits that you have, just keep layering. And it doesn't have to be just, because that's a nice little piece of material there. Where can we put that? Let's tidy it up a little minute. I'm quite liking this. Yes, that's better. It's breaking up that blue, isn't it? Now, I know I'm using lots of pins, but it doesn't matter. And as I say, if your hands don't allow, as mine sometimes don't, then machine stitch it. Just put it under your machine and take your pins out as you go along. You can do that as well. See what else we've got here. We've got the greens. That's a nice little piece. What about putting that down there, look. You can always go back and add a little bit more, especially where the material is quite thin. You get away with it then. All right, so there we are. I'm going to leave it there now. I'll hold it up and I'll show you a bit closer up. Let me move that pin. What I've done so far. All right. There you go. It's looking quite pretty, isn't it? And I'll stitch it all down, and then I will come back next Tuesday, because I'll do it once a week, and we'll do a bit more. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you'll join me again next week to see this carry on. And it's going to be a long project, so it's going to take us a couple of weeks. So take care, everybody, and thank you again for joining me. And thank you for all the lovely comments. Bye.